Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. After Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot, we're left with more questions than answers, especially surrounding the career of Rafael Fiziev after tearing his ACL on his plant leg when trying to throw a kick. So in today's video, we're going to be diving into the future of Rafael Fiziev in order to determine what's next for Rafael Fiziev, what are his next couple of fights going to look like, and is this going to hinder the career of Fiziev, and will he ever fight for a title now? The explosive energy and power Rafael Fiziev generates, especially in his kicks, are an absolute blessing and an absolute curse at the same exact time. When analyzing some of the quicker twitch muscle fiber fighters in the history of the UFC, such as Conor McGregor, of course, these fighters are notorious for an absurd amount of power, especially for the lighter weight classes in the UFC, but this comes at a significant cost. And the Achilles heel of fighters such as Rafael Fiziev is how are they going to look in the later rounds, especially guys who grew up striking and are not used to the grappling cardio you need for a 5-round fight. How is he going to look, and how is he going to survive in the grappling exchanges in rounds 4 and 5 up against a guy such as Gamrot? And these were questions that were starting to get answered early on in this fight. In my opinion, this Rafael Fiziev we just saw was by far the most patient Rafael Fiziev we've ever seen. Of course, he's coming off of a very close decision loss to Justin Gaethje in a fight where he looked outright phenomenal in the first round, clearly won the first round. In the second round, he barely lost, and in the third round, it seems as though the cardio of Justin Gaethje and the overall output of Justin Gaethje and the overall fight IQ and experience completely took over, which is why Justin Gaethje ended up winning that third round. So after this fight, Rafael Fiziev knew, especially in a 5-round fight coming up in his next fight, he knew he had to pace himself, especially against a high output grappler, and this is exactly what we're seeing out of Rafael Fiziev, really a new style of picking his shots instead of marching forward like the Terminator in order to get a quick finish. Considering we're starting to see this new style, but we didn't see it fully come to fruition, I think it would be a phenomenal idea for this to fully come to fruition for Rafael Fiziev and to test how his cardio is going to look up against a high output grappler in a 5-round fight. So instead of remaking this Gamrot fight, in my opinion, the fight to make for Rafael Fiziev in a year when he returns is a guy who can afford to wait a little bit after his next fight, considering how young he is. And I'm talking about a guy who actually has a loss on his record to Mateusz Gamrot, and I'm of course talking about Arman Tsarukyan. Not only is this a perfect fight in terms of where these guys are in the rankings, as Fiziev is currently ranked 7th and Arman is currently ranked 8th in the lightweight division, but these guys have question marks that will perfectly be answered by the other fighter. Of course, the significant question mark with Arman Tsarukyan is how is his striking going to look against the best striking that the lightweight division has to offer in Rafael Fiziev. Arman has looked extremely suspect on the feet up against even the lower level of competition in this lightweight division. So for the UFC, in order to justify them giving Arman Tsarukyan a fight such as Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier, we need to test him up against the same level of striker that is those top 3 guys, and there's no better way to test someone's striking prowess than to put him up against Rafael Fiziev. Now, in a 3-round fight, I would favor Rafael Fiziev to get it done. The fact that he's so compact and he has such a low center of gravity for the lightweight division really has a significant advantage to Fiziev when it comes to the anti-grappling and overall takedown defense that he has displayed thus far in his career. And in my opinion, in a 3-round fight, it's just not enough time for Arman Tsarukyan to implement effective grappling in order to win on points or even win via submission or TKO on the ground, whereas where Rafael Fiziev really does not have to worry too much about that cardio output and that significant cardio dump due to his quick twitch muscle fiber striking in a 3-round fight. But in a 5-round main event, that's where we start to see the championship style of Fiziev start to get developed. Can he win those earlier rounds against Arman Tsarukyan with a lower amount of output? Now, if Fiziev ends up winning this fight against Arman Tsarukyan, I think it would be perfect for Fiziev at this point in his career. He's going to be 31 years old when he comes back. I think it would be a perfect opportunity to put him up against the older guard of the division, exactly what they tried to do with Justin Gaethje against Fiziev, but this time he'll be coming into the fight with much more experience against some of those veterans, and I believe he should fight Beneil Dariush if he's able to fend off Arman Tsarukyan. Again, it is a very elite grappler for this division, but from a physical talent perspective and from an athletic perspective, Rafael Fiziev completely overmatches Beneil Dariush. The only way Beneil Dariush can even possibly win this fight is off of grappling technique when it comes to the striking technique and overall the athletic advantage Rafael Fiziev would have on the feet in terms of speed and power. It would be way too much for Beneil Dariush to deal with, and in my opinion, Rafael Fiziev wins this fight by round 2 TKO. Now, this is where I think it would be a perfect opportunity for Rafael Fiziev to fight a Dustin Poirier. Basically, that would be him avenging his Justin Gaethje loss, and he'd be able to show the progression and maturity in his game and in his development. And after beating Dustin Poirier, if he's able to do so, that's when you can give Rafael Fiziev a title shot. But let's say he loses one of these fights, and let's say he loses his next fight against Arman Tsarukyan, he'd be on a 3-fight losing streak, and if that's the case, at this point, I'm not sure if Rafael Fiziev can regain the momentum in order to get a title shot. I think at that point, they'd probably have him face someone like Grant Dawson or Matt Frevola, two opponents I still, in my opinion, would be confident to pick Rafael Fiziev to beat, but at the end of the day, they would favor younger guys such as Arman Tsarukyan and Mateusz Gamrot in order to get that title shot. Fiziev's career does remind me of Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje's a lot, and overall, I can really see Rafael Fiziev being able to capture an interim title or potentially win a title in a favorable matchup, but overall, my official prediction is going to be that Rafael Fiziev is going to be good enough at some point in his career to fight for a title, but if Justin Gaethje, someone who, in my opinion, is a slightly more crafty striker and overall has a little bit more output and more things to worry about on the feet than you do when you face Rafael Fiziev. If he wasn't able to get it done, I don't think Rafael Fiziev is going to be able to get it done. And if somebody who is a more well-rounded MMA fighter, such as a Dustin Poirier, significantly better at offensive and defensive grappling than Rafael Fiziev, if he couldn't get it done, again, I just doubt at this point in Rafael Fiziev's career that he would be able to get a title win. Overall, though, I am betting on Rafael Fiziev to come back from this torn ACL and win a couple fights in a row and eventually fight for a title. Thanks for watching today's video of Mike Talk Sports. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Rafael Fiziev and his long journey towards recovery from this torn ACL? Do you agree or disagree with some of my takes in this video? And if you enjoyed today's video, I really appreciate it, guys. Smack that like and hit subscribe.